Let me tell you about a name. Austin DeCullis. You don't know who that is? Yeah, well, you'll learn this Sunday. What's going on, everybody? I'm Noah Strackby, and thank you for jumping on to Steelers To Go, your daily to-go cup of Pittsburgh Steelers news and analysis. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers Week 4 matchup with the Houston Texans. And, oh, man, what a matchup it is going to be. I want to start by just recognizing that C.J. Stroud is one hell of a talent and that kid looks phenomenal. He's yet to throw an interception. He looks just so smooth and confident out there. And the Houston Texans are fun, man. Whether you only root for the Pittsburgh Steelers or not, and I get it. Like, you know what I mean? When I say the Houston Texans are fun, I don't say, man, the Houston Texans are fun, we should all go buy Houston Texans jerseys. CJ Stroud, number one. No. I'm just saying they're a cool team right now. They're a team that for a long time has sucked. And, well, if you don't suck anymore, as long as you don't get in the Pittsburgh Steelers' way, I feel like it's okay to acknowledge that they're a fun team. They got some cool guys. They got some familiar faces. And CJ Stroud, I feel good for the kid. I hope he does well. So far, he's doing well. This weekend might not go so smooth for him. It might not be the easiest Sunday afternoon that he's played in or that he will play in. And it all ties back to Austin DeCullis, whatever his name is. And, you know, we'll learn plenty of it on Sunday. We'll hear his name time and time and time again. Why? Because he's going to start at left tackle for the Houston Texans. And nobody knows who that is. Why? Because he's on their practice squad. And that's where they're at right now. With Josh Jones expected to miss the game with a hand injury and Laramie Tunsil still out, the Houston Texans are turning to their practice squad to try and stop Alex Highsmith, and that only means that things are going to get very, very, very dangerous for the Steelers edge rusher and the guy across from him in TJ Watt. This is what D'Amico Ryans, head coach of the Houston Texans, had to say about TJ Watt and his running mate, Alex Highsmith.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about you want to play great defense, you got to do it on the edges. It starts there. And TJ, I mean, you can't think of another guy who impacts the game more. You can talk about him. He's probably the most, impactful defensive player in the league right now. Leading the league in sacks and pressures. When you have one guy who can pressure and disrupt the quarterback, it just changes the entire scheme of things defensively. You don't have to blitz as much because you have a guy like TJ Watt. And when TJ Watt gets the help from a guy like Highsmith, it's almost unfair. But TJ is impressive. He uses his length very well. I think the length helps him a lot rushing to get the tackles, and he's always moving forward towards the quarterback.
Let me read out the Houston Texans' expected starting line on Sunday against the Steelers. Obviously, DeCullis will be at left tackle. Then George Fant, rookie Jarrett Patterson, Kendrick Green, familiar face to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base, of course. And then veteran Shaq Mason, who might be the only name on this list that you sit around and go, oh, I know who that is. George Fant, maybe another one. But for the most part, Shaq Mason, known commodity across the NFL. It's going to get bad. And it's a tough spot to be if you're CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans facing the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that already has 8 sacks this season. Right now, TJ Watt is 1-for-1 odds. 1-for-1 odds on betonline.ag to break the single season sack record. 1-for-1. That means that it is almost a guarantee. They literally just said, yeah, chances are it's going to happen. Right now, he's on pace, I believe, for 34 sacks this season. He doesn't look like he's slowing down. He only looks like he's getting better. It doesn't matter if you double team him. It doesn't matter if you chip him. It doesn't matter what you do. TJ Watt's going to find the quarterback. And the guy on the other side of him, Alex Highsmith, man, you want to talk about a week. You want to talk about a scary, scary game for this guy. Alex Highsmith could have another Defensive Player of the Week performance because people want to act like, oh, he kind of disappeared against Vegas. He wasn't all that there against San Francisco. Okay, well, week 2, the guy had the best performance in football across the board. Alex Highsmith is very much so still a dominant superstar for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And just because he kind of faded in week 3 does not mean that he's not coming back full force in week 4. And to have that option against Austin DeCullis, who, again, we'll learn exactly how to pronounce this name on Sunday from all the times that the announcers and the broadcasters will mention him getting beat by Alex Highsmith, most likely. And I mean, granted, if he plays well, we'll hear about it just because he's shutting down Alex Highsmith, but that's hard to imagine. The Pittsburgh Steelers walked in here and their fan base, and I've seen it all over social media, have talked endlessly about how, well, Kendrick Green is going to start. Kendrick Green, can't wait to see the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line take on Kendrick Green. What a breeze that's going to be. If you think that's where it starts, no. A practice squad left tackle is where it starts. Kendrick Green against Larry Ogunjobi and trying to provide help for whoever is on TJ Watt. Yeah, that's a beautiful scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line, but a practice squad left tackle against Alex Highsmith is as good as it gets. And at that point, the Houston Texans got to pick their poison. Do they double team Highsmith and leave TJ Watt by himself on an island? That's as dangerous as it gets. Or do you continue to double team TJ Watt because he's TJ Watt, and then you leave Alex Highsmith on an island, because that is as dangerous as it gets. The Houston Texans, despite not giving up a sack in week 3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, have given up 11 sacks this season. That's more than the Pittsburgh Steelers have accumulated, and it feels like the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, or the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, gets to the quarterback almost endlessly. It's a dangerous game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a dangerous game for the Houston Texans. You got to remember, last week, the Raiders did not give up a sack heading into the game. That changed rather quickly. And TJ Watt, if he wasn't getting to the quarterback, was pressuring the quarterback, was forcing interceptions. Things just got sloppy really, really fast for Jimmy G. This week, CJ Stroud's a good kid. I think he's got a bright future in the NFL. But man, if this is his rude awakening, his brutal welcome to the NFL moment, it's as bad as it gets. And to some degree, you got to feel bad for him. But you also got to feel bad for Austin DeCullis. And we're going to hear plenty about how bad we feel for him this weekend against Houston.